There are so many labor regulation rules. They are all very cumbersome and they cost a lot of money, and the goal has to be reducing bureaucracy. Germany recovered after 2 world wars. This is something that everyone should keep in mind, even if the situation right now is not very hopeful.
The backbone of the German economy is small and medium-sized businesses, known in Germany as the Mittelstand. But with an economy in recession, that's been putting on the pressure on smaller companies. Joining me is the chief economist of the association BVMW, which represents SMEs, Hans-Jürgen Völz. The German economy is feeling the heat at the moment, following 2 years of recession. Are the companies feeling the heat as well, or are they relishing the opportunity of getting back up to speed?
Businesses are very disappointed about the current state of the German economy and of what's going to be probably the next government, and there's regrettably no reform agenda as far as I witness current negotiations between CDU, CSU and SPD.
Do you think that government has abandoned industry? And I know that you don't just cover industrial companies, but that's obviously a big part of the Mittelstand.
No, the industrial companies haven't been abandoned, but everything that is necessary so they can benefit of being German companies or being located in Germany has been neglected in the last couple of years, decades.
Neglected sounds like abandoned to me.
It was more important for them to improve the welfare state, the German welfare state, to increase burdens on companies, bureaucracy burdens, energy price burdens and tax burdens.
It seems, though, that China is going to beat German small and medium-sized enterprises regardless. Wages are just higher here. Chinese companies are comparatively heavily subsidized. Isn't it just delaying the inevitable continued erosion of the German small and medium-sized enterprises, or at least the consolidation towards, let's say, high-value manufacturing only?
It is a challenge for both the government policies and the SME sector. And our members, or just SMEs in general, are willing to compete with companies from all over the world, especially from China, not on low prices, but the high quality of their products. Their companies are still very innovative. They are still, can be called the engine of innovation of Europe is the German Mittelstand.
But China has been catching up in a lot of areas that used to be the exclusive preserve of Germany.
I have to admit that's true, yes. But as I said, it's not something that can be changed by correct policies, by the way the government looks at our business sector and understands that burdens have to be reduced in order to keep this sector alive. Because
China can just pump more and more money, even though it's completely unfair, and the German companies might be doing their best. But that's the unfair playing field in which these companies have to operate.
People in general, or let me say politicians in general, have to understand that small and medium-sized companies are dependent on the policies of the German government within Germany. So they can't just relocate to other countries as big companies could do. For instance, big pharmaceutical companies or industrial companies, they can move their operations all over the world. But SMEs in Germany are focused on Germany. And they had success in the past in Germany, and they are willing to have success in the future within Germany. But this is only possible if the government policies are favorable.
So you mentioned bureaucracy as one of the things that you'd like to have cut in Germany. Could you give me an example? What rules need getting rid of?
There are so many labor regulation rules. There are rules regarding sustainability from the European Union, carbon border adjustment mechanism, for instance, supply chain rules. They are all very, very cumbersome for businesses, and they cost a lot of money, and they cost a lot of hassle to them. So in order to get rid of them, the future government should be very careful what are they doing in the future regarding more bureaucracy. The goal has to be reducing bureaucracy. and a moratorium wouldn't be enough.
But a lot of people would see these as vital protections. So labour laws, they're there to protect sometimes vulnerable workforces from abuses by their employers. Environmental regulations stopping the environment from being destroyed. Doesn't this hurt Germany in other ways, environmental and in terms of the workforce, if you reduce these?
Businesses are not interested in hurting their workforce. Even exactly in times where we don't have enough skilled labor in Germany, businesses do whatever they can do in order to keep their workforce happy. The same counts for the environment. No business nowadays can benefit from reducing the level of sustainability codes, for instance, or they are not interested in putting our nature in danger. Quite in contrast, this is vital for them in order to sell their products, to demonstrate that they're really in favor of people and the environment.
It is sensible to ask the government for help because they do have a lot of power and control. But don't SMEs need to do more to invest in their own futures?
They already do. 90% of all investment in Germany is originated in the private sector.
But SME borrowing has halved in the last 20 years at a time when they need to put money into new technologies like AI or automation, digitalization.
Of course, there is room for improvement, I will admit. But as I said, companies have to be careful about future investments if they don't see real good developments within Germany. And this depends completely on the future government and the policies that they are hopefully following.
Well, I just want to bring up a quote by Michael Schwarz, who's an SME expert at KfW Research, who says, when a business abandons or puts off investments because it does not want external financing as a matter of principle, or loan financing specifically, that can have negative consequences for its competitiveness in the long term. And right now, Germany is facing a wide range of challenges. A broad aversion towards bank loans could therefore put the brakes on the country's transformation efforts. So it sounds like you're saying the government needs to create the conditions, but what he's saying is that if these investments don't take place, then the economy won't improve. And so that SMEs need to do more, take a bit more risk on board, borrow more externally in order to make these transformations that are going to lift the economy.
Mr. Schwarz is not completely wrong, but you have to keep in mind that the KfW belongs to the German state. That's all I think that's necessary to say about that.
Sure, but he's not wrong.
No, he's not entirely wrong. But as I mentioned before, in order to invest, people, decision makers in companies have to see a bright future not for them personally, but for their companies.
The fact that they're small means just their borrowing costs are too high and it's prohibitive. I mean, doesn't this show a significant weakness in the German economy, that it's reliant on so many of these smaller companies?
No, the smaller companies, 3.5 million companies in Germany are small and medium-sized enterprises, are the backbone of the German economy. The backbone is not Mercedes, Volkswagen, Porsche, Bayer, Siemens or Bosch. These are family-owned businesses, 3.5 million. And they heavily depend, as I mentioned several times, on the economic framework in Germany. And this economic framework in the last decades, I have to say, is not very favorable. And this is a result of wrong policies, government policies, and it doesn't matter who is the chancellor.
I mean, investment has stagnated for 10 years among SMEs, even when interest rates were very good. And at the moment, there's actual consequences for that. At the moment, only 12% of companies in Germany use AI in some form, for example. I mean, this is a massive issue because these are things which could make these companies more efficient and help them therefore contribute to the economic revival that you want to see.
Companies are using AI more and more, and at least my members tell me, but even using AI is costly at the very beginning. And the smaller a company is, the more hesitate to use these new technologies because it's something new and not everything is positively connotated in Germany with everything that is new. A lot of our hesitate to try new things because the old thing still works.
What is the potential consequence for small and medium-sized enterprises if these changes don't occur that you're asking the government for?
The government policy changes. Mm-hmm. More and more think about quitting. The ones who can leave Germany will leave Germany. There are several examples right now in my mind. And the welfare state doesn't exist, can't exist in the future when this occurs. That would be a consequence, yes.
Do you think we're going to see more companies going out of business, more companies consolidating, private equity from abroad coming in and buying up small German companies?
That's something we already witnessed. It's European country, owners of Europe and other European countries buy German enterprises, not only from China or the United States, but from Austria, Switzerland, even from the United Kingdom, as far as I know.
Just to move on to the workforce and a phenomenon in Germany called the Fachkräftemangel. There's not enough workers to plug a lot of the gaps that occur by Germans retiring. Is there the political will to increase immigration at the moment?
There is a political will regarding skilled labor, but there's no will. The majority of our German citizens to immigration in our welfare system, because this is not only costly, this is also for the host society as a whole a very dangerous development. And you probably know what I mean regarding the election results.
Do you trust them to be able to manage immigration effectively so that they can get the skilled labor without their broken promises on immigration from the past?
I'm very hopeful that they will deliver, because there's no real alternative, at least not an alternative I witness right now.
So let's end on a positive note. Can you give me one reason to be cheerful from your perspective for small and medium-sized enterprises?
Germany recovered after 2 world wars. And in my personal perspective, this is something that everyone within the business sector and of course of politicians should keep in mind, even if the situation right now is not very hopeful.
Hans-Jürgen Völz from the BVMW, thank you very much for your time.